Gave my cousin $200 for rent, found out he used it for drugs. Should I confront the idiot? Here's what happened. Last month, my cousin Leroy, who's always been the black sheep of the family, hit me up for some cash. He was behind on rent and claimed he'd be evicted if he didn't pay up. Now, Leroy's not the most reliable guy, but I figured family's family, right? So I lent him $200. A week after that, I'm chilling at my buddy Jackson's place. We're knocking back a few beers, and Jackson's girlfriend, Marla, mentioned seeing Leroy down at some sketchy part of town. She saw him arguing with some dude who's known for selling drugs. My heart sank. I asked Marla, "Are you sure it was Leroy?" She nodded, saying, "Yeah, he was wearing that stupid red jacket he loved so much." I felt this rage boiling up inside me. Did Leroy just take my hard-earned money and blow it on drugs? I mean, who does that? I kept it to myself that night, but I couldn't shake off the anger. A few days later, I decided to confront him. I went over to Leroy's place, and he answered the door looking like he hadn't slept in days. His eyes were bloodshot, and he reeked of booze. I tried to keep my cool, but it wasn't easy. "Hey, Leroy, we need to talk," I started. "Hey, Cass." "What's up?" he said, slurring his words. "I heard you were seen down by the old mill buying drugs." "What the hell, man? I gave you that money to help you out, not for you to waste on getting high." Leroy's face turned red. "Who told you that? That's bullshit, Cass." "Don't lie to me. Marla saw you. She's got no reason to make that up. Are you using again?" He didn't say anything, just looked down at his feet. That was all the confirmation I needed. "Unbelievable," I muttered, storming out of his place. After confronting Leroy, I felt like shit. Part of me was furious, but another part was just sad. We grew up together, and seeing him like this was heartbreaking. I decided to talk to our Aunt Clarice, who's practically like a mother to us both. I found her in her garden, tending to her roses. "Aunt Clarice, can we talk?" I asked. "Of course, Cassie. What's on your mind?" she replied, wiping her hands on her apron. "It's about Leroy. I gave him money for rent, but he used it for drugs. I'm worried about him." Aunt Clarice sighed, looking more tired than I'd ever seen her. "I've been worried about Leroy for a long time, Cassie. He's been in and out of trouble since he was a teenager. I don't know what to do anymore." Her words hit me hard. If Aunt Clarice, the strongest woman I know, felt helpless, what chance did I have? I left her place feeling defeated. A few days later, Leroy showed up at my door. He looked worse than ever, and I could tell he was desperate. "Cassie, I'm sorry. I messed up. I really need help," he said, tears streaming down his face. "Do you even want to get better, Leroy? Or is this just another one of your schemes?" I asked, crossing my arms. "No, I mean it this time. I'm scared, Cass. I can't keep living like this," he pleaded. Against my better judgment, I decided to give him one more chance. "All right, but you're going to rehab. No more excuses." Leroy nodded, and I made some calls. It took a lot of convincing, but we finally found a place that would take him. I drove him there myself, praying this would be the wake-up call he needed. The first few weeks were rough. Leroy called me every day, begging to come home, but I stood firm. "You need this, Leroy. Stick with it," I kept telling him. A month later, he started to sound better. The desperation in his voice was gone, replaced by something that almost sounded like hope. "Cassie, I think I'm finally getting it. I'm so sorry for everything," he said one day. Hearing that brought tears to my eyes. "I'm proud of you, Leroy. Keep it up." It's been 6 months now, and Leroy's still clean. He's working part-time and rebuilding his life. It hasn't been easy, but seeing him sober and healthy is worth all the heartache. Update 1. Hey everyone, I wanted to give you all a short update on Leroy. It's been 6 months since he went to rehab, and he's doing great. He's been going to his meetings, working part-time, and even volunteering at the local community center. I'm so proud of him. It hasn't been easy, but he's really turned his life around. Update 2. Leroy just hit his 1-year mark of being clean. We had a small celebration with family and friends. He's even talking about going back to school to finish his degree. I can't believe how far he's come. Thank you all for your support and kind words. Update 3 final update. Leroy has moved into his own apartment and started taking classes at the local community college. He's still going to his meetings and staying focused on his recovery. I'm so proud of him and grateful to everyone who's supported us through this journey. Here's to new beginnings. Comments. Broken Road 1987. This story hit me hard. My brother went through something similar. So glad to hear Leroy's doing better. Stay strong. OP. Thanks. It's been a rough ride, but seeing him healthy makes it all worth it. The Real MVP 69. Damn. You're a better person than me. I would have cut him off after the first time. Props to you. OP. Trust me, it wasn't easy, but I couldn't just give up on him. Family's important. Snarky Queen. Why'd you give him money in the first place? Should have known he'd blow it. OP. Hindsight's 20/20ths. At the time, I wanted to help him out. Lesson learned. Hopeful Mom 22. So inspiring to see someone turn their life around. Wishing Leroy all the best. OP. Thank you. We're taking it one day at a time, but things are looking up. Tough Love 24. You're too soft. He's just going to relapse and drag you down again. OP. I hope you're wrong, but I'm ready to support him either way. Recovery's a long road. Hearts open wide. Leroy's lucky to have you. Keep being an amazing cousin. OP. Thanks. Just doing my best to be there for him. And that's my story. It's been a hell of a year. But seeing Leroy clean and sober makes all the struggle worth it. Thanks for listening, everyone.